question of if these are friends, are covenant or your first command or whatever. The reality is this. I'm a regular church goer, even though I'm not expecting the coming of Jesus Christ. But the reality is that when there is altar call for first command to come out, first timer, they came out. The pastor, Mr. Neche, even said yes, he preached to them. But what happens? The idea of coming out, people wearing clothes, doesn't change the service, it doesn't obstruct the service. It's peaceful and is allowed anywhere in the world. But we have an overzealous security officers. We have overzealous security officers in the church who invited DSS after arresting them, forcing them to delete the live streaming, and then invited the DSS. So if anybody will go to the DSS to go and bring them out, it's Mr. Paul Eneche, because it's the security of his church that caused all of this crisis for him and for the church, for the body of, for the church in entirety. So we are not saying that we will exclude one and say one. No, we are saying it point blank. Those guys should be released immediately. Unconditionally. They have committed no crime. It is because of the backwardness of Nigeria and the religious mentality that makes people to think that why can't they go to Central Mosque on Friday? People wear whatever they like at any time, at any way. It shouldn't be anybody's business. And then let me give this caveat that we are determined to confront the tyranny. And on Sunday, we will not mind if these young people are not released.
Go en masse.
We'll go en masse to protest at the Dunamis Church as a first action. Because the reality is that after the bandits, the next kidnappers we know now in Nigeria is DSS. For crying out loud, what is the offense of these young people? In fact, the Constitution didn't allow them to be kept more than 24 hours. Our friends are now spending 5 days in unlawful detention for committing no crime. So I think that's answer that.
And for those who are familiar with the Bible very well and the activities of Jesus, there's no way that it is reasonable to separate protest from the church. Because the church, if the church doesn't stand for justice, what does the church stand for? If the church doesn't stand for the fight for those who their rights are being abused, what does it stand for? If the church is not good enough to stand against tyranny, what does it stand for? And you would agree with me that Nigeria is drifting from democracy to civilian autocracy. Because whatever that allows you or that embodies you to keep people who have not committed a crime for 5 days without charging them to court, I mean, it already delegitimizes whatever democracy stands for.
So now, are you picking up this your threat to possibly do mass protest to Dunamis in the event that your friends are not released between now and Sunday?
Definitely, because as long as Dunamis Church and the pastor stand as an accomplice to this unfortunate event, we are definitely going to mobilize in a large number to storm the church on Sunday in protest against breach of the fundamental human rights of the said young people.
But I saw a picture, correct me if I'm wrong, that your leader of your institution met with the pastor himself. I saw pictures somewhere.
Yes, I was there too.
So was this, what was the outcome of the meeting?
Before we proceeded the meeting, what the church promised us was that we're going to take back, the release of we're going to come pick our comrades after they, collect their custody back from the DSS. That was the promise they gave to us. But on getting there, we engaged in a meeting where what was discussed most was the church trying to exonerate themselves, trying to deny involvement in their arrest, trying to play all sorts of games. So I can tell you that the meeting was futile, because the purpose of calling the meeting was for the release of our colleagues until now. Our colleagues are still in detention, so the meeting has no meaning.
So are you suspecting any foul play now between the church, DSS, and
Yes, definitely. Definitely, that's what is playing out. Because what the church told us was that they were going to release them and then we should come pick them.
That was even very clear. Shortly after the meeting held at the Dunamis Church, we can see the security personnel trying to, as in, harass the comrades on ground, telling them he's going to kill somebody. I think the video is online, everybody can access it. So those are the kind of things that we felt they are encouraging, and it's a pre-planned work because of it, and that's why we think that we cannot continue this. We cannot allow this to continue to go. By next Sunday, if this, that's 2 days to this time, if those comrades are not released, we're going to be at the church, Dunamis Church, to protest for ourselves and to see what, to demand the release of our comrades on Monday.
But sorry, in your speech here, you said if no release within 7 days, and you are saying you are going on
A nationwide strike.
2 days time.
Yes. No. For the 7 days of the 7 days of ultimatum, is a nationwide protest pressing on the demand for the release of Nnamdi Kanu and the 13 persons who were arrested at Sunday Igboho's house, because it is to our belief that they were unlawfully arrested. Until today, just like our colleagues, they haven't been charged.
12 students were also detained illegally by the El-Rufai regime in Ghana.
Good morning. How are you? Where are you? Okay. This man told me. Good morning, sir. How are you? Yes, sir. Fine, sir. Yes, I appreciate that. Yes.
When? Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. We shall always fight for our rights. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. We shall always fight for our rights. Victory, there is victory for us. Victory, there is victory for us. In the struggle for our people, there is victory for us. Forward, ever backward, never in the struggle for our people. There is victory.
Thank you very much. Like we have said, this is just a symbolic action to show that we are not going to beg or to appeal for the release of our comrades. We have started a legal battle and we will continue it with the political actions. Thank you very much.
As our colleagues have spoken to them regarding the heartless, inhuman impunity that continues to ravage this country by the Buhari regime, we are here to inform all Nigerians that Nigeria is no longer a democratic nation. It has become a banana republic. It's being governed with iron fist. We have full-blown tyranny. We have a despot in government today named Muhammadu Buhari, and they are making no pretense about it. But why this is very, very despicable is that a church is involved. A church has colluded with the Nigerian state to hand over innocent protesters to the lawless state security services that styled itself as DSS. There's no entity known to law in Nigeria as DSS. It is an alias name of impunity that has come to be known in Nigeria. So we have met with the pastor and discovered that he was playing games with us. He lied, and I'm emphasizing it. He lied that his church security was not involved in the arrest. But we have ample evidence that not only did they get involved, they actually physically brutalized these protesters simply because they were wearing the kind of t-shirt I'm wearing now to church. And I've heard some of you ask whether they should have gone to church in these t-shirts. Well, the question is, if they went to church with a t-shirt saying Buhari must stay, or I stand with Buhari, would you beat them up? And I've also heard some people who are saying that, oh, why don't they go to mosque? Well, I think it is also a way of demonizing Islam. Yes. To say that if you go to church or to mosque to fight against oppression, the members of this mosque will beat you up. That's a demonization of Islam. Because I've seen a lot of Muslims fight against oppression. The Shiites are fighting every day against oppression in this country. I know of Muslim clerics who condemn the Buhari regime. Why are we demonizing them by saying, oh, why don't you wear the t-shirt to mosque? You know, everybody in this country is tired of the Buhari regime. And they are at liberty to wear whatever they want to church or mosque either on Friday or on Sunday. The question we should be asking is, why is it a crime to even engage in protest? Whether it's in a church, in a mosque, or in a school, and you now know. Ask about what the Rufai did to students who were protesting on campus. Did those ones go to church as well? They killed them because they were fighting against the increase in school fees. What did the Shiites do when they were killed? Or they are being killed on a daily basis? Because they are protesting. So we should not be asking some of these questions, but it shows that tyranny has conditioned the mind of some of our citizens to believe that it is right to do what is wrong. And when government do what is wrong, instead of condemning it, they justify it with other wrongs, either in Nigeria or elsewhere. Nigeria is the only country I know where citizens don't compare good things from other nations. But they can always find a parallel or an equivalent of wrongs being carried out by the Nigerian government from the US. But they will never bring a US highway to Nigeria. Yes. They will never bring a US hospital to Nigeria, but they are quick to justify something terrible in the US with what has become the terrible norm over here in Nigeria. So we are urging the church, since they are the ones who handed these innocent individuals over to the DSS, knowing fully well that the DSS is a lawless agency of the repressive regime of Buhari, they should go back to their friends in the DSS to take them and release them. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. That's our demand. That's why the church is part of the litigation that is ongoing now. It's because they carried out a heinous crime. The church should be a refuge for the oppressed. I remember when I was growing up, if your mom or your dad is pursuing you, they want to beat you, you run into the church, they wait until you get out of the church before anything else happens to you. In other countries, even during the Rwandan war, people who found solace in churches mostly had lived the war. Of course, when tyranny gets to its peak, as we are seeing now, there's no sacred place. The church should be worried that there are DSS posts all around them that are willing to pounce on innocent citizens for no reason. But if you are in doubt about the collusion of the church, when we went and met Pastor Eneche, and after he lied to us that he was not involved, while we were in front of the church, policemen carrying AK-47 came and threatened to kill us and some journalists that were there. It was witnessed by journalists. It shows that, and when we did our investigation, this same policeman was also involved in breaking somebody's nose in October of 2020 during NSAS. So the church is swimming in impunity of its own. And I know a lot of churches in Nigeria, these Pentecostal churches, who actually use security agents to harass people, including lead pastors and general overseers who have a plethora and retinue of assistants, bodyguards who are members of these murderous security agencies in Nigeria. And they do everything to protect them and harass people from going near them. So there's something wrong with the mentality of the church. They no longer have faith in God to protect them. They are using human shields to protect themselves, and this is despicable. What I had expected the church to do finally was, when it turned out, and if it is true, as they claim, that they had no hand in it, why didn't they issue a statement, a condemnation, saying that the DSS must release these people? There's no of such communication to the public from the church. The only thing they are doing is defending this impunity and paying media houses, and a lot of people, bloggers, to claim that they had no hand in it. It shouldn't be that we are the ones planning to go to church on Sunday to protest it. The church should have relocated to the DSS headquarters on Sunday and have a service in front of the place and see if the DSS can withstand that kind of power. Because they have over 50,000 people that goes to the door. So if I was Pastor Eneche, and if I were not to be guilty and involved in this violation of rights, I will ask my church members to let us worship in front of the DSS headquarters on Sunday, and let's see who will wait. But they are not interested in that. Because why? They are not interested in getting these guys freed. I will reveal to you that when I was waiting to see him, one of his aides told me that when I get inside, I should apologize to him. I said, what? Apologize for what? And then he retreated. Because apparently that was the reason he called us to come and apologize to you for violating rights of fellow citizens. And to the question about, are they church members? Are they first timers? Who cares? The church is a place that is open to sinners, right? Assuming they are sinners. Anybody can go to church. What if they are Muslims and they want to go and convert on that day? Is that the way to treat them? Let's even assume they are not church members. Let's even assume they went to church to protest. Is it a crime to protest? Didn't Jesus Christ himself protest within the temple, beating up people with koboko? So what is new about even taking a protest action to court? To church? Where is it in the Nigerian constitution that you can't protest inside the church? Where is it even in the church own rules that you cannot live stream within the church? Because the only reason that they got upset, in my view, was the live stream that they wanted to delete. An attempt and that zealousness or overzealousness to delete the live stream videos, they did everything they can, including brutalizing these young people. So that is, as far as we know, what happened on that day. And we are calling on Dr. Eneche, again, the Dunamis Church owner, to call his friends at the DSS to release these 5 persons unconditionally. Don't forget that out of these 5 persons is a guy who is visually impaired. He can't see. He's a saxophonist. Interestingly, he's actually a Christian saxophonist. He's a church choir member for several churches in Abuja and Lagos. He's well known. We pick him up, and till this moment, we don't know their whereabouts. We don't know if they are getting food. They definitely have been denied of medical care, and they've been denied of legal support because we sent a lawyer there, and they denied the lawyer access to them. What is their crime? I'm still asking. Is it that, according to what they said, what Eneche said, he said to me, that they are trying to instigate a religious crisis? What is the meaning of that? The person that is instigating a religious crisis or crisis in Nigeria is Buhari. He's the most bigoted human being that ever walked the surface of, governance in this country. He's the one causing religious crisis. He's the one causing ethnic tension in the country. He's the one killing people extrajudicially. So I just want to submit there that our position is very clear, and this impunity cannot continue. And that was extended to Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu, who was kidnapped and extraordinarily renditioned into Nigeria, blindfolded and brought before a judge that is in detention, as far as we are concerned, illegally. It involves Elza Kizaki, who has been in detention for almost 6 years now, simply because members of his church were protesting and they came to block the road and they touched the chest of the general. They killed over 300 of them. This also includes members of the agitators of Yoruba were picked up in the middle of the night when the SSS engaged in a murderous invasion of Sunday Igboho's house in Ibadan. And NSAS members who are still wallowing in detention, as well as students in Kaduna who recently were engaged in peaceful protests against Tutsis who have been languishing in detention now for almost 2 weeks. So, as you can imagine, the country has been turned into Cambodia under Pol Pot, and this is not acceptable. Thank you.
I guess you took one. I want to be sure where you took one. Hello? Did anyone take any of the court processes? Okay. Is any of the pressman having any?
How are you doing? My name is Fred.
Hello? How much?
How are you, man?
I'm good.
It's okay.
How are you?
Abin da nake gayawa shine wannan kasan ba ta da wata dokan da ake ajiyewa. Inda akwai doka da ba a kama mutanen da suka fita zanga-zanga domin su gan cewa Najeriya ta samu yanci ba. Inda a ce kasan nan tana da dama, ta ba ma kowane ɗan kasa dama, da ba a kama Comrade Larry da Comrade Victor da Comrade Manasseh a Dunamis Church ba. Kuma wannan church din wurin bauta ne wanda kowa da kowa zai iya je yayi bauta. Wa'innan yaran sun je yin bauta ne wa Allahnsu. Inda gaske ne Paul Enenche yana bautan Allah ne, bai kamata ya ɗauke yaran nan ya ci musu mutunci, ya duke su, ya ji musu ciwo, ya sake ɗaukar su ya ba ma DSS na Najeriya wa'inda tun damun suna jira ne kawai su gan cewa an kawo musu nama su ci. To mu ba za mu yi hakuri ba. Ba za mu zauna mu gan cewa ana takura mana yancinmu ba. Ya kamata tun yanzu a bamu yancinmu. Idan ba za a bamu yancinmu ba, muna ba da kwana 7 za mu sake shiga Dunamis Church mu je mu gaya musu cewa abin da suka yi bai daidai ba idan ba su sake mana mutanenmu guda 5 ba. Na kashe abin da zan ga yake.
Ƙari da jawabin da ɗan uwana ya yi akan wannan ƙasar namu. Gaskiya wato wannan ƙasar namu ta lalace zuwa yanda talaka shi yake shan wahala ko ba haka ba. In ka zo ta wani bangare za ka samu kayan abinci yau ya yi tsada, rayuwa ya yi tsada, talaka na shan wahala. Mun fito muna magana akan gaskiya ne, akan yanci dai shi ne dai abin da muke magana, yancinmu shi ne muke magana a kai. Amma ya zama mun zama mu ne 'yan ta'adda, bayan ga 'yan ta'adda nan gwamnati ita ne 'yan ta'adda. Kuma amma mu da muka fito muna magana akan aiman adalci, an ce da mu an ta'adda ne, an kama 'yan uwanmu akan babu komai saboda mutum ya sa riga, wannan riga waye isa. Ka je masallaci, ka je coci da duk kayan da ubangiji kake da shi, ubangiji zai karba addu'a'in ka da shi, ka je ka yi bautan ubangiji. Amma saboda 'yan uwanmu sun je coci, mun je masallaci da wannan kayan, an haɗa mu da ma'aikata, an kama mu, an ci mana mutunci. To gaskiya wannan abin ya yi yawa ko ba haka ba. Muna magana akan gwamnati su duba, in gwamnati ba za ta duba ba, mu fa matasa fa muna nan ba gudu ba ja da baya, kuma babu tsoro in dai akan wannan yanci ne. Gaskiya wannan shugaba namu wai shi Baba Buhari, ni da kai da kowa ma za su ce Buhari ba barawo bane ko Buhari ba waye bane. Buhari barawo ne saboda me yasa? Ya san masu yin satan nan kuma suna nan suna tafiya tare da shi akan gwamnatin. In shi ba barawo bane ya san masu yi, ya sauke su komai ya tafi daidai saboda mu talaka rayuwa yi mana sauki. Ina ga shi ne iya bayanin da zan yi. Dan Allah dan Annabi a sake mana 'yan uwanmu. ba don halin mu ba.
kuma da wani karin bayani an kama wani ina Kano wanda ya fita yana magana akan yancin sa
yancin nan da
yancin nan kai ne ina Kano ya fita yana nema amma kuma ba a sake shi
Buhari ya shiga 3-15
kuma
haka ba
kuma muna kare gayawa cewa idan Buhari bai sake ina Kano
Buhari munafiki
idan bai sake
banza.
mutane da aka kama a gidan Sunday Igboho ba idan bai sake waɗanda aka kama a Kaduna ba idan bai sake idan bai sake yan SAS protesters ba to wallahi shi munafiki ne kuma shi banza ne.